As an educated individual, we all know that a proper diet and exercise reduce obesity. However, the United States has been struggling with obesity for years without a change. Obesity in the United States has increased approximately 15% from 1990 to 2010. In 2010, 1 out of every 3 people were considered to be obese. The Center of Disease Control and Prevention reported that the average adult is 26 pounds heavier now than in the 50s. All of these statistics are alarming, and there lies the question of what are the contributing variables are in rise of obesity in the United States besides diet and exercise, and how can this information be used to fight obesity in America? Using a dataset from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, we were able to identify some unique variables that may have an effect on obesity besides diet and exercise. The dataset is used for national and state-specific data on obesity, nutrition and physical activity in the United States for people 18 years of age and older. The data ranges from the years 2011 to 14 and includes sample sizes from all the 50 states in the United States of America. We broke down and organized the dataset to specifically focus on people who are obese. For each sample size of those considered obese, the data is broken down into certain variables we thought may play an effect on obesity. We focused our analysis on these variables to see how they are connected to the obesity in the United States. In order to properly analyze the data we collected from the dataset, we first had to filter and recognize the structure of the dataset and focus on the chosen variables. The chosen variables were year, state of residence, gender, age, annual income, education, and ethnicity. We believed by using these variables that we would be able to effectively analyze the variation that results from the provided dataset. Using these variables in our analysis, we were able to determine some interesting results involving how these variables influence obesity.
Through our analysis, we were able to find some interesting results. For the state of residence results, Mississippi had on average the largest obesity percentage per total sample size each year with 35.03% of its sample size. Arkansas in 2014 had the largest obesity percentage of any state with 35.90% of its sample size. Colorado led the way in having the smallest obesity percentage with an average of 20.95% of its sample size being obese. We can see there is a significant difference in obesity percentage for state of residence, with a 14.95% difference compared to the states with the most versus least obesity percentage per total sample size. For the age results, those who are aged 45 to 54 had the highest obesity percentage per total sample size in the United States, with 19.20% of the total sample size being obese. The obesity percentage decreases once reaching the peak of 45 to 54 years of age. The variable with the smallest obesity percentage is those aged 18 to 24, with an obesity percentage of only 11.27%. There is a difference of 7.93% between the highest and lowest obesity percentages, showing the significant impact of one's age and obesity. For the gender results, the gender variable was the only variable that did not provide significant results to distinct obesity between men and women. We can see how females had higher obesity percentage in 2011 and 2012, but in 2013 and 2014, males have a higher obesity percentage. However, over all 4 years, females proved to have the highest average obesity percentage of 50.01% compared to males of 49.99%. This final percentage is only separated by 0.01% on each side, stating that the obesity rates of males and females are very similar and that gender does not have a significant effect on obesity rates in the United States. For the education results, while looking at the education portion of our data, we found that the education variable proved to have a diminishing obesity rate as one's education increased. We decided to run a linear regression of 50 states over the years 2011 to 2014. In our regression analysis, we were 95% confident that people with less than a high school education were 3.341% more likely to be obese than that of a college graduate student, holding all else equal. Under that was a high school graduate level education at 2.724%, and some college or technical school education at 1.741% above those with college graduate education. We can see that higher education has a negative correlation with the obesity rates in America. This may be because of several reasons, such as those with more education typically know more about obesity and its effects.
For income results, all 4 years and the total average show a diminishing obesity percentage as one's annual income increases. Those with the highest obesity percentage at 18.6% are earning less than $15,000 annually. Those with the lowest obesity percentage at 14.07% were those people that earn an annual income of at least $75,000 or greater. The variables of income and education do correlate with each other, as typically those with higher education make a higher annual income in turn. We can also see the higher income has a negative correlation to obesity rates in America. Here we can assume that income and education have a positive correlation to each other, since the higher education level you have, the more income you usually make. Ethnicity results. Each ethnicity provided mixed results depending on the year and the state, and there was only one common theme throughout the dataset. The ethnicity with the lowest obesity percentage each year and the total average was Hawaiian Pacific Islander with a total obesity percentage of 0.9%. Non-Hispanic whites proved to have the second highest obesity percentage of 27.07%, while non-Hispanic blacks proved to have the highest obesity percentage of 37.16% of the total sample size. For the total results, full data analysis has shown that through the years of 2011 through 2014, the people with the following attributes were the most likely to be obese. A non-Hispanic black female from Mississippi, aged 45 through 54, with an education less than high school, and an annual income of less than $15,000 living in the year of 2014. Though we had a lot of results, our data set did present some limitations. One limiting factor was the different number of sample sizes per each variable in a given data set. The sample sizes differ per variable, and not having a sample size of the entire state population for the year may not show an accurate result for the state. Another limiting factor was the lack of available data outside the years 2011 through 2014, which makes understanding trends over a long period of time more difficult. If we have more years to study, we may have found new trends or even trends that match up consistently with the 4 years of data we have. Now, the results could have both positive or negative implications to the obesity rate in the United States. On a positive note, the findings allow us to suggest to the Obesity Action Coalition where to focus their efforts in obesity control. It will allow for them to reach out to the niche groups with high obesity rates. An example would be people with less than a high school education, aged 45 through 54, and who are from Mississippi, and it will allow them to advertise or work specifically with these groups. This specialization allows for decreased time and expenses used. Another positive way is by allowing the government to have a part in fighting obesity in America. Excluding the complications of politics and other variables, by using our results, the government can easily target areas of where our data shows obesity is growing the most. They can enforce tax laws on unhealthy foods and unhealthy food advertisements in certain areas, or reduce taxes on healthy foods as an incentive for the population to eat healthier. A negative implication is if a company with obesity correlating products, such as fast food, uses our data results to see how they could effectively locate their stores and who to market towards specifically. The data results do show that low-income people are typically more obese, which correlates with fast food's cheap business model. To conclude, our analysis of this dataset gives insight to the increasing issues of obesity in America. We see that there are more variables than just eating fruits and working out that correlate with obesity. With our results from our analysis, nonprofit organizations like the Obesity Action Coalition and the government can better plan on how to attack this issue. Even though there is a possibility of using these results in a somewhat unethical way, our results mostly provide an effective way of using the data to reduce obesity in the United States.